Namaste. So today I will be transforming myself into Kamapoko Gonpachiro.
Kamado Tanjiro da!
Sorry, Kamado Tanjiro. But before that, let me introduce to you myself. I am Gauram Manti and I am from India and I am an Indian. So without any further delay, let's start and see how I did this. So the first and most important process, the storyboarding. Generally it holds the 50% of importance of our whole video. It's a process in which you have to decide what's going on in our scene. Our story starts like this. Tanjiro is standing at his broken house, holding his red forging and burning sword and looking angrily at Johakuten. And on the other end, Johakuten is getting ready to fight with Tanjiro. He hits his drums and calls his wooden dragons or snakes or whatever it is, and they emerge from the ground. On seeing this, Tanjiro lifts his sword and Johakuten sees Yorichi in him. And finally, the dragons attack Tanjiro, and that's it. That's our complete story. It's my first video, so it's gonna be a little small video, but don't skip. Wait, there's a big spoiler at the end, so please don't skip. So the next and most important part after storyboarding. If storyboarding holds 50% of importance of our video, then this step holds 20% of our importance, and it's shooting. As we are doing a VFX and CGI both in our video, so shooting is another important part. As I am the all-in-one story writer, director and actor and editor and composer of the whole video, so I will be shooting myself as both the Tanjiro and Johakuten in all my scenes. So let's start the shooting. Yeah, that's me. This is how I look. I just took some random clips according to my storyboarding, and I'm not using a green screen in this because green screen causes a lot of reflection and it becomes hard for me to clear it during composting. So I will be using rotoscoping in this case. I know all these scenes look weird, but trust me, this is gonna look good at the end. The next and most awaited step, the editing. This is more important than shooting, so it holds 25% more importance of video. For this, I will be using Blender for creating the CG environment and After Effects for the composting. And because it's a destructed village, so I will be using some assets that I found online. I just placed some random assets according to my scene until it looked good. Finally, my scene was completed. The first step was easy. I just rendered a single frame of my scene and used it as background and then rotoscoped myself and placed over it. I just added some 3D or CG hairs over it and a red mark or the scar that Tanjiro has on his head, which I created using Ipsynth. And the second scene was just its vice versa. I just added CG hair, CG sword and rotoscoped myself from the video and added it to my 3D scene. The third clip was fun. As you know, all demons are muscular and my muscles were just like. So what I did was I just tracked my body using Mesh Tracker in After Effects. I then distorted it and created and make it look like muscles. And I didn't need CG hair for this because my hairs were black in color and Johakuten's hairs are also black. So I repeated the same process as the body and tracked my head using Mesh Tracker and then distorted it. After that, I imported it everything into After Effects and then rotoscoped it into transparent video and then transferred it into Blender. Now comes the most typical part. This is the most toughest part of my scene. I had to create the dragons, rig them, animate them, then add the ground destruction, then the simulation, then some ground debris and etc. and etc. So what I did, I just downloaded a dragon head from online and added a cylinder to create a tail like shape to it. added some PBR materials, and now my dragon was ready. I just animated it in Blender so that it looked like it is rising from the ground. I then created a ground destruction simulation with some smoke and some debris particles in Blender. After after that, this scene was completed and I left it overnight to render, but it took 20 hours to render. But it was worth it. Wait till the end and you will see how good it came out. The next step was easy as the first step. The next step was of Tanjiro looking with an angry face. It was basically same as my first step, so I created it using my first step only. But when I looked at my calendar, I had already spent 13 days doing this. So it was too much for me. I then rushed through the other processes. But until then, another hurdle continued, the Yorichi. How was I going to create him? He was looking like an aura in this video. I did some research online and after that I came out with a conclusion that I will be doing a simple trick in this. I used a model of Yorichi that I found online and then rendered out a single frame, transparent frame, and imported it into After Effects. And then added some fire around it, like it's burning. I then added some fire stock footages so that it feels like he's burning. I then used Puppet tool to animate it and surprisingly it worked. I added it into Blender and rendered all these scenes in rapid way. I then only used my previous steps to create the further scenes and this is what my hard work resulted. After a complete 15 days hard work by one man who is the director, actor and editor. So now enjoy the final video.
Defeat the demons to protect human lives.
Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed this. Now the most awaited part, the spoiler that I promised you to show you at the end of this video. So the spoiler is the next video will be on the topic.
These walls weren't built to protect the humans from the Titans. They were actually built to protect the Titans from Levi.